Good morning, everybody. Well, we're back. This is about my favorite time of week. I love this show. We've been doing it for many, many years, and it's nice to do something that you have fun doing. It's not like I'm getting paid for this. It's something I just want to do. And it's probably I hope it's almost as interesting to you as it is to us here in the studio, because all of us feel the same way about the show. I've got a little background noise there. I'm not sure what that was. And we love it because even with technical glitches, we're not professionals. We're amateurs. And just being on live radio is exciting. And it's exhilarating, truly. You never know what the next caller is going to say. You never know what you're going to say because all of us have said some stupid things on the radio and wish we hadn't. But if you can laugh at yourself, you're way ahead of the game. So we laugh at ourselves a lot. We try hard, and I think we do some good. There's nothing more difficult, frightening for some people than buying a new or used car, leasing a car, and going into a service department to have your car fixed or maintained. It's just a shame, and it's something that has been around with us for about 100 years, since back around the Henry Ford era, mass production, and once those Model A's and Model T's started flooding the road, life has never been the same for the car buyer or car repairer. So we're here to right the wrongs that the industry, the retail, and the manufacturers have created in you buying your transportation. We prepare for the show every week, and we spend a lot of time. Nancy and I are up, at 5 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays, and we're reading the latest periodicals. We're checking automotive news and doing all this, and we prepare a whole lot of stuff. But what we really we really don't need to do that because your questions make the show. They truly do. So it's important that I remember to give the number out often, Nancy and Rick and everybody in the studio here, to let you know how you can reach us. It's a 2-hour show. We're on from 8 a.m. Eastern to 10 a.m., and that's a long time sometimes. It doesn't seem like a long time to us because, as I say, we're having fun. So if you can't call in now, write this number down, please, 877-960-9960. That number to call the show and be on the air is 877-960-9960. We have Jeremy, I believe, in the control room now, and when the calls come in, he tweaks Nancy's computer, Nancy Stewart, sitting to my left here in the studio, and lets know that somebody is holding. We try to prioritize those phone calls because there's a lot of other ways. I'm going to tell you how you can listen to the show or see the show or communicate with the show. But the number, one more time, 877-960-9960. A lot of people don't want to call and talk on the air. It's scary. Nancy and I were terrified when we started the show 20 years ago, wondering how many people, or actually wondering if anybody was listening. We didn't know what was going on, but it's a little scary. Live anything is scared, but some people are a little timid. So you use our text number, and you can text us at area code 772-497-6530. That's 772-497-6530. And my son, Stu Stewart, will accumulate these texts when they come in, or Rick Kearney will, and we will archive them during the show, and we will get back to them before the end of the show. 99% of the time, we get all the texts. Sometimes we don't get them as quickly, but as we do the phone calls, obviously, but we have the text, and we will answer that question or acknowledge your comment. You don't have to ask a question. We're interested in your opinion of the show. Maybe we're not covering some areas that you think we should cover, and we'd like to do that. Now, another thing that we have that is just unprecedented on television, digital, radio, or anything else is our mystery shopping report. An undercover agent, every week we dispatch undercover agent to a car dealership somewhere. We shopped a Cadillac dealership this week. Every week we do a different one. We have hundreds and hundreds of these mystery shopping reports, and I cover the mystery shopping report in the second half hour, or actually the last half hour, so it'd be around 9:30, between 9:30 and 10 o'clock. So if you can't listen for 2 hours, and you probably can't, that's a long time to be listening to the radio, but tune back in if you can around 9:30, 9:45. We'll be doing that mystery shopping report of an unsuspecting Cadillac dealer somewhere. Our mystery shopper goes even to different states. We, of course, do more shopping in South Florida. That's where we're located. Our studio is located in South Florida. So we hit South Florida, which is a good thing, by the way, because this is the worst area for buying a car. If you live in South Florida, if you can buy a car anywhere else, you're better off to do it, because the car dealers down here are rough and tough, and they have the higher prices. There's a lot of bait and switch advertising. There's a lot of dealer installed accessories, junk they put on the car and charge you too much for. So we do most of our shopping reports down here, and they're entertaining. I mean, sometimes you want to laugh, sometimes you want to cry, but some of the treatment that the mystery shopper endures in her effort, it's a female, to try to buy a car is really kind of interesting. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/Earl on Cars, and Rick Kearney, our certified diagnostic master technician, he also monitors our YouTube channel. We have a great group, a great number of YouTube followers. Our best number that religiously post on YouTube and responds and calls into the show, or actually writes into the show, but it's real time. I mean, we get their post right away, and Rick covers those. We also are available on Facebook, facebook.com/Earl on Cars. There's so many ways that you can reach us here. And we, by the way, if you were listening last week and the week before, we've been talking about having a Zoom way to reach us, and we encountered more technical issues than we anticipated. And Jonathan is going to be meeting with the station owner, and we're going to come up with a way where we can have a Zoom contact. We can have you called in on Zoom if you want to. Anybody can. You could have a guest. We could have people from anywhere in the world appear on Zoom. So we're excited about trying to make that work technically, and that's what's taking a little bit of time. We thought we could do it sooner, but it's going to require a few adjustments. What did I leave out? If you want to talk to the show anonymously, this is another unique feature. I don't know why more people don't do this. People don't like to have everyone in the world know who they are and what they say. It's called privacy. And so maybe you're not, just because you like privacy doesn't mean you're a bad person. Some people just don't want the hassle of being, they want to do what they want to do and do it privately, get it over with. So we have a website, it's a web link. It is youranonymousfeedback.com, youranonymousfeedback.com, youranonymousfeedback.com. You go to that link, and you can send us a message. If you want to reply, you can ask for a reply, but if you don't click that link that says you would like a reply, we can't even email you back. We can't contact you in any way, shape, or form. So your anonymity is totally guaranteed if you want to reach us on youranonymousfeedback.com. Now, I said earlier that my wife, Nancy Stewart, she is sitting next to me here in the studio. She's not only the co-founder of the show, but she's also the driving force behind our female audience. We started out 20 years ago, all male, cars are a guy thing. 20 years ago, cars were even more of a guy thing. Today, the ladies are buying, if anything, as many or more cars than the men do, and they also are very, very active. There are more women in the service departments having the cars maintained in service than there are guys. So women don't tend to be as vocal, and us guys are kind of loudmouths. We like to yak, and we like to talk to each other. But we now have a female audience thanks to Nancy Stewart. I'm going to turn the mic over to Nancy, and she has an extremely good offer that she'll tell you about. Sounds too good to be true, but I promise you it is not too good to be true. It is true. Nancy, the mic is all yours.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. We got a pretty exciting show again this morning. First off, I want to welcome everyone and wish all the ladies and gentlemen a happy Father's Day. We like to show our appreciation, so we have a promotion just for the ladies, and that is $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. And you can call and you can share your experience, whether it was in service, whether you leased, whether you purchased, or you have some advice for us. $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. That number is 877-960-9960. 877-960-9960. Also, if you bought a car in the last 3 years, was there an electronic accessory part that was excluded? And were you told? We'd appreciate your feedback. 877-960-9960. And just in case you didn't know it, Big Dog Ranch is having a big event this weekend to celebrate Father's Day, and that's the 100 Puppy Palooza. We have our dog of the week, and I believe his name is Ducky. He's a mixed breed. Her name is Ducky, and she's about 40 and a half pounds, and she was picked up, I believe, in Miami-Dade area. So stay tuned for that. Also, we have the mystery shopping report. We'll get to that. Again, that number is 877-960-9960. You can text us also at 772-497-6530. And don't forget youranonymousfeedback.com. We'll be mentioning those numbers periodically through the next 2 hours. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
I want to say a little bit more about Rick Kearney. I usually hit him in the introduction, but we get all excited about selling new cars and buying cars and used and new, and the retail experience. The maintaining of a car and the repairing of a car is what you really spend more money on than anything else, and you do it all the time. You only buy a car every 4 or 5 years now. You repair a car, or you should, I don't mean repair, but you should maintain your car at least twice a year. And you have repairs that come on top of that. So Rick Kearney is a certified diagnostic master technician. He has a following. He could have his own show. He has a following of people out there that they get a free diagnosis. Nothing like something free from an expert. And so we have people that have issues with their cars. Maybe they haven't been in to a repair shop, or maybe they're just thinking about it, or maybe they have and they didn't like what they heard. So if you, a situation like that, if you want to call the show at 877-960-9960, tell Rick your problem. Give him as much specificity. I can't say say it for me.
Specificity.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's better than I can say. Be specific. And tell him, describe it, the noise, the odor, the feel, rattle, shake, all the things that a car can do that make you a little bit nervous and you're not sure whether it's something serious. A light came on, but you can't figure out what the light means, maybe a code. The cars are not built to let you really know if you have a serious problem or not. So if you're worried, just call us at 877-960-9960. Ask to speak to Rick. You can, if you want to go directly to Rick, you can go on YouTube, youtube.com/Earl on Cars, and describe it. And you'd be surprised. We'll have people calling in later today that listen to Rick, and they will tell us, yes, Rick, it worked. No, Rick, it didn't work. You got any better idea? And but one thing you have that with Rick's diagnosis that you don't have anywhere else, it's free. So what do you got to lose? If someone told you this repair is going to cost you $875, call Rick up and say, is that too much to pay for this? We'll give you our opinion, which is pretty good, by the way. I didn't mention this before, but regulars know this. We have a car dealership. We have a Toyota dealership in North Palm Beach. That's almost 50 years that I've been running that Toyota dealership. And Stu's been there. Well, how long have you been there, Stu?
30.
30 years. So Rick's been there almost 30 years. 30. So Nancy's been there. We've all been there, and we know what retail repairing, maintaining, buying, leasing, we do it. So when we accuse a dealer of doing something that's not right, charging you too much for a repair, we know what we're talking about. Rick can give you the straight scoop if we do that. So if we want to, do we have any text, or do we have
Yes,
any?
we do.
We'll go to our text. Stu is across the
Well,
front.
let me mention real quick that I didn't mention when we opened that ladies, if you didn't know this, with prices way down, incentives are way up. So it would be productive to take advantage of that. Also, with ladies, 50% of women coming through service, it's well, I'd love to hear from you. I'd like to know what you're looking for when you do come through service. I would say the top of the list would be trust and transparency. Now back to Stu and the text that he has.
Thanks, Nancy. Anne-Marie says, good morning. I have a 4-cylinder 2013 Camry XLE with an intermittent noise. It's sort of a rattle that sounds like it's coming from the steering column sometimes when I hit potholes. It's gotten more annoying over time. This noise happens only occasionally, so I haven't been able to record it. I've been searching the internet trying to figure out what it might be. Now I'll do the sensible thing and just ask a Toyota expert. Rick.
What year Camry did she say it was?
2013.
Ah,
It says,
okay.
Rick, what is your best guess on what it could be? The little electric power steering damper, or the steering intermediate shaft, or something else? 2, if it is that little damper, what can't it be designed? Why can't it be designed to not have a part of it crumple over time? Also, what would it cost to fix my car if it were one of these things? Again, thank you very much. Thanks, Anne-Marie.
What she's talking about is in the electric power steering, the motor assembly is mounted on the steering column under the dash. And there's 2 small gears in there, and for some reason, Toyota made them out of plastic and rubber. And it's meant to be quieter that way as these gears engage.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, I think their mindset, I'm only guessing at this part, but I think their mindset was if they made them out of some sort of metal, it would be noisy. And so they made them out of a plastic, and unfortunately, over the years, they do start to fall apart, they crumble. Now you get this rattling sound when you go over bumps. And the best way to tell is driving straight ahead. If you hear this little ding, 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 ding under the dash, sounds like it's right at the base of the windshield, then that's most likely that cause.
Okay.
However, if you're, say, in a cooler area, your car hasn't been running a while, and the noise comes when you're turning the steering wheel side to side, and you get like a clunk clunk noise, that's more likely going to be what's called the intermediate shaft, which is what connects the steering column to the actual rack and pinion. Those are the 2 most common noises on electric power steering. The intermediate shaft is probably going to run you about, let's say, I think the part's about $150, labor about $300, and an alignment on top of it, so you're looking at probably about $550, $600.
Wow.
That's for the
That's for the intermediate shaft.
right?
That's the clunk clunk when you're turning side to side.
You just can't throw some oil on it?
No, because it wears the little teeth inside. It's actually geared together, and it's the teeth wear, so it kind of works. The 2 work back and forth. Now for those gears inside,
The damper thing.
the damper. Sit down, folks.
We are.
Yeah, you're looking at probably about 4 hours of labor, which is going to be about $600 labor. Parts wise, $50, $50, $60 for those 2 gears. then an alignment on top of it just to make sure that the steering is
600.
back, everything's straight.
What is there a danger factor? What if she just ignored it and used
Turn the radio
earplugs?
up louder.
It becomes incredibly annoying, but if you can just ignore that sound,
You know, for $1,000,
you will
I
not
can.
find any. We have not had a car yet that has had a breakdown issue from either one of those.
I also wouldn't advise Anne Marie to put 1,000 in her. It's a 2013. Well, it's not that old. It's 11, 12 years old now, but it is getting up there in years. I mean, you might want to.
Yeah.
I don't know what you've spent on it so far, but
The interesting part is a lot of these cars now are holding their value so well that it might almost be worth it to put that in, because that's
Yeah.
the sort of noise that
Somebody
when you're
won't
trying to sell the car and somebody hears that,
you'll get more than
they're going
1,000
to
back.
panic and they're not going to want to pay as much.
Anne Marie, if you're going to trade it in, try to find an appraiser at a dealership that's hard of hearing. And
Right.
when you go test the car,
Well, the interesting part there is most appraisers at dealerships don't drive the car.
Right.
So they're never going to know it.
Rick isn't joking. It is
Yeah.
true. It's amazing.
It causes ire to rise in us, but that is true.
And Anne Marie, I'll add this. Earl and I were just talking about hanging on to vehicles. An article that appeared in the Wall Street Journal last month, and it's an amazing number of consumers that are hanging on to their vehicles, and the vehicles are as old as, what did we see in that article, Earl? Was it, it was
Coming up on
2000.
7 years. I think the average car on the road now is about 7 years old.
Yeah, well, it was much, much older than that, but it just depends on what you want to put into it, as Stu mentioned. So thanks for the text, Anne Marie.
All right, that's all I got.
We're gonna go, before we go over to Rick, we're gonna go to Howard, who's calling, and he is a regular caller. Good morning, Howard.
Good morning. I hope you're all well. I have a couple of questions. I remember the time when you had to replace the upper hull radiator hose, you had to replace belts frequently, and now I have a Camry with 61,000 miles. I never replaced any of these. So what's the deal? Are they making the hoses better? Are they making the belts better? What's your take on that, Rick?
Some maniac somewhere came up with some new chemical process, or they did something with voodoo or something, and belts and hoses seem to be almost invincible nowadays. As a mechanic, I used to make a lot of money because belts would last 3 years maybe, hoses 3 to 4 years. You'd see them start to swell up. Mr. Customer, look at this. This is not good. Here's the swelling on your hose. We need to replace that before it bursts. Look at this belt. It's got all these cracks in it. Pieces of rubber are breaking off of this belt. And that was only in 3 years' time. I made a lot of money doing that, selling the customer, and it was not needless work. They were worn out. My truck, my 2013, has 180,000 miles on it on the original hoses and original belts. Somebody came up with, I don't know, whether it's unobtainium or what they're putting in it, I don't know. They put some voodoo magic in these things, and they're lasting forever. And as in what I consider myself to be an honest mechanic, I will not sell work unless I believe it is necessary for the safety and proper performance of that vehicle. And if it's something that I don't think really needs to be done for safety features or for keeping that car in proper shape, I'm not going to recommend it. Therefore, I can't tell a customer, hey, your belt's been on there 5 years, you need a new one. No, if it's not making noise and it's not got cracks in it, I'm not going to sell it.
Yeah.
Remember when they used to, on belts that squeak, they used to spray something on it and it would take the screeching out?
Belt
and
conditioner.
Yeah, belt dressing, belt conditioner.
Yeah,
Hey.
you remember that, right?
Yeah, but you want to hear the shade tree trick for that too?
No, what is it?
Deodorant. You know You know those stick-type deodorants that you spin it and the solid form deodorant comes up? You start the car up, you run some deodorant, and you just let it rub on the belt gently, and it'll actually transfer to both sides of the belt as it's going over the pulleys, and it'll quiet them right down for a long time.
And smell all right.
Yeah.
If you pick the right one.
You get some good Old Spice in there, and you got a nice scent coming out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one other fast question. The 2025 Camry, that's going to be only a hybrid. What other features does it have that the 2024 Camry? In other words, what are the upgrades besides the fact that it's a hybrid?
Well, that's the big one. It is a body style change, but I'll tell you that in terms of body style changes, it's not very radical. I would say it's an evolutionary change. The other changes are in the specs. The gas mileage has gotten better. The power has gotten better. But you'd better talk to one of the guys in the sales department for more specifics. But yeah, it's changed. It's real nice looking.
Very good. Thank you for the information. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
You got it.
Thank you, Howard. We're going to go to Bob in Lake Park. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Good morning.
What's that, Bob?
I saw that the Ford,
You're breaking up, Bob.
Ford is now offering to vinyl wrap your car at the factory. They give you a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty, and they'll do it for any color. And what it does is it turns the color into a matte finish.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing it all for the very reasonable price of $5,999.
That's so reasonable. I'm about to fall out of my chair.
And my question to Rick is, if you get the vinyl wrap, I would imagine you wouldn't need to ever wax your car. And what would be the maintenance on that? And how would that hold up if you don't have a garage and it's outside in the heat and humidity all the time? Thank you.
I've actually done some investigation on vinyl wraps because the paint on my own vehicle has degraded to the clear coat has been peeling off, and it looks horrible. And so I did a lot of investigation. Wraps can be expensive. $6,000 is not unreasonable for a properly applied wrap, and especially one that they're offering a 3-year guarantee on. That's pretty awesome. There are a lot of pros and cons. One of the big pros is that, again, you don't need to wax the car ever. You wash it just with a mild detergent. And picture this, if you've ever been driving along broad daylight and you get that reflection off of shiny paint right in your eyes, especially early in the morning, in the late afternoon, you get blinded by that, and it's painful. A matte finish car, very little reflection, makes it easier to drive. So I'm all for that part of it. The Florida sun is going to have an effect on these wraps just like it does on our paint. So figure 4, maybe 5 years is going to be the lifespan of that wrap. Then it's going to have to be peeled off and redone at about that same price.
All right.
It's similar to what you see in the commercial wraps where people advertising their cars, but this is a much more stronger product. It lasts longer and it looks better than the commercial wraps. But you'll see, like our commercial wraps, we've wrapped our vans and some vehicles at the dealership, and after, like Rick says, 5 or 6 years, you'll start to see the wear, and eventually they'll just start peeling off and look terrible.
Yep.
But I do know when they put them on, it's almost like a paint job. They break the car apart, just like a paint job, and they paint the individual components and they reassemble the car, and it looks just like a great paint job. And it doesn't have to be matte, by the way. They can do matte. You can do any color, design, anything. Yeah,
I have seen colors that are almost like a chrome color finish.
Yeah,
and it's incredible.
So if you hit your fender and you got to replace a fender, you just put a new piece of wrap on the fender when you put the fender back.
Yeah. Now bear in mind, you're still going to have, the other parts are still going to be aged a bit because of the sun.
Right, it won't be a perfect.
So it won't be a perfect match.
Yeah.
But
you don't have to paint the whole side of the car to make it perfect.
Right. You're not blending it in. You simply put a new piece of wrap on there.
So, Rick, you mentioned 3 years. Stu mentioned 5 or 6. The wraps.
Well, 3 years is Ford's warranty on it. 4 to 5 years is what I've been have discovered is usually the lifespan of the wrap before it starts to look kind of like a bit rough, and it's time to start thinking about changing it.
Yeah, you can shorten the span of thinking about replacing it by keeping, if you have a garage,
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
keep the vehicle in the garage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And is there no problem running it through the automated car wash?
I wouldn't run anything through the automated car washes anymore.
No, no.
Right.
I if anything, I would just find a car detail place, tell them you just want a simple hand wash, and they'll do a lot better job on you. There are so many people out there right now
Yeah.
running their own business, detailing cars.
It's amazing.
The competition is fierce. Their prices are reasonable. And when you find somebody that's actually cares about their little business, they're going to do a good job for you, counting on you to pass that word along to others to help their business grow. So that's something you can do to help your own
Yeah,
community.
it's definitely affordable. And like
yeah.
you said, these detailers are everywhere. Come right to your front door.
And if you like their work, tell your friends and neighbors and help them grow their business. And you're helping your community while getting your car done at a reasonable rate.
Yeah, and you're helping yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because all you got to do is make that phone call, send that text, and those people are right at your front door.
Yep.
Okay, how about Ford just notified all their dealers now that they don't have to spend $1 million to upgrade their dealerships for the EV
Very nice for the dealers.
story?
I shows you the power of the dealerships. That was something that got a lot of dealers' attention, and Ford's struggling right now, and they didn't want to lose dealers because they would refuse to cooperate. And every manufacturer has been guilty of using the leverage. In this case, it's the EV, but sometimes when a new model comes out, when Hyundai first came out with the Genesis, they were making the poor Hyundai dealers build a separate dealership for the Genesis, and that's they have a lot of power, but a lot of the dealers just said no. So I think the dealers won the battle, and Ford lost, and so that's. They realize if they want to be a player in the electric vehicle business, they're going to have some dealers that are going to sell them, and it looked like they weren't going to have enough dealers.
Well, what they did was they told all their Ford dealers now that they were eligible to sell the EVs, where before they were only going to have them at the dealerships that made the investment.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So I wanted to ask you, have you heard anything on the CARS Act that's supposed to start at the end of July? Any update on
Oh,
that?
Bob, you're reading my mind. I was just getting ready to mention that, Earl.
What was the question?
the
That's
cars.
about cracking down on junk fees and lowering costs for
No,
consumers.
it's still in the Texas court, and it's going to be decided on by the Texas Circuit Court. The decision will be made later this month, or it may be postponed. My guess is they'll probably postpone it, but we're on the record with the Circuit Court of Texas, and actually the other party is the Texas Auto Dealers Association. So we're on record with what they call an amicus, which is a friend of the court, meaning that we want to state that we agree with the Federal Trade Commission in their combat auto retail scams, and that is what we'll let you know as soon as we hear something. But I'm trying to appeal to some other dealers to join the amicus and go on the record. A lot of dealers are afraid to do this, but there are some dealers out there. If there are any dealers listening right now to the show, if you would join I've already paid the money to the attorney to do the amicus, and if you want to join the amicus, you could just use your name. And the more names of dealers we have that saying that we believe that dealers should be honest and transparent, the more likelihood we'll get that bill or that regulation passed by the Federal Trade Commission.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's good information. What do you think about the color gray now taking over the dominance in with the car manufacturers?
Is it really?
Yes. Moved all the way up. I think it's the second most popular color now. They have all kinds of grays. All of
Yeah,
them.
I know.
If
I'm driving a
see
gray
another
truck.
gray car-
I
if
got a
see
gray truck
another-
called Lunar Rock.
if I see another gray car, I think I'm going to shoot myself.
Oh, well.
I mean, that's all you see is gray
Yeah.
all over the place. Even if you go into the, I mean, they have. It's like that book, 50 Shades of Gray.
Hey,
boy.
Howard, we got a bunch of calls on hold now, so if you have something else, let's get to it. If not, let's take another caller.
That's a good
Interesting
one, Howard.
reading material there, Bob. Thanks for sharing.
go.
Okay,
Okay, have a good-
877-960-9960. Text us at 772-497-6530. Ladies, $50 for the first two new lady callers. Give us a call. We're going to go to John, who's calling us from Palm City. Good morning, John.
Good morning. Speaking of pressure for dealers, I have a very suspicious mind thinking. My friend saves me the Florida Weekly. That's a free newspaper from Martin County. From Palm Beach County. But in Martin County, it's the hometown news, and that's circulating in other counties too. In my opinion, Earl runs a weekly blog. The latest one that's in Florida Weekly is about finding a good mechanic, how hard they are to find, and it appears nowhere, no blog in our edition in Martin County of Hometown News. And we know, like last week's report from a Lexus dealer who also owns a dealership in Stewart, not good ratings, and I have a feeling, it's just my guess, that they're advertising in Hometown News, these other dealers, and I think that they're borrowing his weekly blog, which is a fabulous article in free newspapers. So I might be wrong. I mentioned once to Earl that it's not in Hometown News, and he said he was going to look into it. But could I be suspicious and correct in saying that they're purposely
So that's
stopping?
that's the Lexus dealer in Fort Pierce.
Yes.
Yeah,
He
that's
owns the,
Sandy Woods.
dealership
Yeah.
in Stewart. But these dealers advertise in Hometown News. Many of them have that. We're on our bad list, and I do think that they have pressure on Hometown News that not to run the weekly blog that Earl Stewart writes. Could I be wrong?
No, you'd be right. That's happened in the past.
Oh, yeah.
And we've been fighting that. We started out with just the Hometown News before we moved to Florida Weekly, which is a bigger circulation. But we've had Hometown News changed owners, and they got all new people in there. And the previous owners were allowing us to do the column. And apparently, the new owners, from what you say, may have got the pressure from Sandy Woods and Lexus of Fort Pierce, I think it is. And that's what it happened once before, a long time ago. So I guess history has repeated itself.
Yes. And other dealer that's involved is the Audi and multi-brands. I think he has, I don't know how many of them here in Stewart. So I just feel there is pressure. And it's very unfair because a weekly blog is so important. It's like the show that I've been listening to from Earl Stewart for 20 years, and there's been no show absolutely ever close to a public information.
Well, thanks, John. I said I'd look into it before. I haven't. I will. I promise this week and find out what's going on. I haven't spoken with a new owner yet, so that's what I need to do is find out what his position is. And if he decides he doesn't want to have my column, the column will appear in the Florida Weekly, and we'll find out. Maybe I'll do a blog on the fact that Hometown News is boycotting my column because of pressure from the advertisers.
I'm sure Florida Weekly would love that.
Well, I appreciate you looking into it because I love to read a weekly blog from you.
Thanks, John.
We appreciate it, John. Thanks for the heads up, and stay tuned for the mystery shopping report from Auto Nation Cadillac.
Thank you, guys.
You're
Thank
welcome.
Thanks, John.
Our number here is 877-960-9960. You can text us at 772-497-6530. Again, ladies, $50 for the first two new lady callers. And I asked a question earlier, and that was in reference to the ladies going through service. 50% of you go through service, and it's an amazing number that has climbed. But what are you looking for whenever you need a mechanic? whether it's clear communication about necessary repairs, to just mention one. There's so much to consider when you go through service, and if you're not on your toes, boy, you can be taken advantage of very easily. And if you go to Earl on Cars, you'll catch you can look for a good auto mechanic is worth searching for. It's a great read. Our number here is 877-960-9960. Don't forget your anonymous feedback. And I believe we're going to go to Rick, who may have some information from YouTube.
Well, we've had a lot of little conversations going back and forth. A couple of questions we already answered. However, did a couple people put in some interesting comments that you may like the sound of? They said Cybertrucks. They've been talking about the wraps on Cybertrucks. Mm-hmm. And apparently, I know I've seen some photos and videos on the internet, and some of those things, the wraps they're putting on those trucks,
the ones I've seen on the road, I think have all been wrapped. I don't think I've seen a plain steel one. I've seen black ones and other things like that.
Kid Rock lives 3 houses down from Nancy and me, and he has a Cybertruck, and he wrapped it too.
In the American flag?
It was something crazy. I mean, pretty bizarre he's got. But yeah, it's a perfect thing for a wrap because they have a lot of flat areas.
Yeah, it's all flat surfaced.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
I wonder if it's Kid Rock or many of the people who stay in that home. They may all
maybe
have.
It's Elon.
There you go. Okay, Rick.
Scott H. Sr.'s asking, how is the Earl Stewart Toyota new car inventory? Is there still a wait list for a new vehicle? Thanks.
It's vastly improved. The wait lists are for specific vehicles. We have vehicles on the ground, and we have a very small stock compared to historical inventory levels. Around 150 cars, but in the past we'd run close to 500. But it works really, really well. So we have our faster moving cars are coming in and out, and we can deliver them in normal, like normal. Some of the tougher to get ones, like if you wanted to get a Land Cruiser or a Venza or something like that, might be a little bit of a wait. But it's improved remarkably.
Or maybe a Crown.
Or a Crown.
Yeah. And it's funny that we were asked that question. It was just yesterday that a customer approached Earl and I, and they were commending us on the fact that in a blink of an eye, they were able to get their vehicle.
I'm used to defending myself. Nancy and I were having lunch, and a woman came over and said, "Thank you so much. I just bought a new Toyota from you." And my first words were, "Oh, how long did you have to wait?" She says, "Just a couple of hours." So it was in stock, and it's
going
it's
from a year and a
refreshing.
half to a couple of hours. I don't know what the percentage is, but that's a massive improvement.
Maximum. 877-960-9960. Text us at 772-497-6530. YourAnonymousFeedback.com. Something to take advantage of. Rick?
Well, let's see. We already hit on the cars. Johnny Fradley was asking about the cars rule. Would it still take in effect? But Riley, 108, is asking, is Earl Stewart still a Costco dealer?
Yes, we are. Absolutely. And we're Costco all over the place.
Yeah.
We're Costco Palm Beach Gardens, Costco Royal Palm. I think that's it.
Well, that's a good. Yeah, we added a Costco store, but that's a good question because the mystery shopping report today involves Costco, and I was going to ask Stu, did we ever find out if the target of the mystery shopping report was a Costco dealer, or did they just say they didn't they were a Costco dealer, but they wouldn't give them the Costco price?
We didn't confirm whether they are or not.
Yeah.
It's kind of difficult to do, but we're going to keep finding out. And
Yeah, we
report
could
by
probably
next
do
week.
that before the mystery shopping report. You could
I'll
probably
try,
go.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great information. And again, that mystery shop is from AutoNation Cadillac. Rick?
And that's got us pretty well caught up here.
Okay. Stu, do you have anything?
Let's see. We have some couple of anonymous feedbacks. I'm not sure if it's relevant, but let's go ahead and read them anyway. Did you see them?
Yeah.
Okay. with the Russians coming to visit your area with their military and nuclear weapon armed ships, are the people of Florida concerned? I remember the same situation in the late 1960s, growing up on a farm in Iowa, and people were filling their cellars with food. I'm just going to be completely honest. I have no idea what
I had
that's
no
about.
idea either.
Are there Russians
Rick?
coming?
I looked out the window to see if the Russians were really coming, but
Rick knows something.
All we
here.
saw was turtles. Rick?
The Russian military sent several warships to Cuba for training exercises with the Cuban military.
Yeah, I read that. Yeah,
So they're
yeah, we can't see them. That's
it's a
kind of
big
far.
thing because they're literally
Yeah.
90 miles from Key West.
yeah.
However, there were reports of at least one carrier and several other ships doing a fleet week in Miami. So there are some big
Right.
ships down in Miami right now, and at least one U.S. submarine literally surfaced and cruised right along the coast of South Florida, which is almost unheard of.
How did I miss that? You didn't
Boy,
see
Rick,
anything?
that is
You live right on the coast.
big
Yeah, I didn't
news,
see any
Rick.
You
submarines.
got to keep your
Not
eyes
to
out.
mention videos of a flyby over South Beach of a B-52, a B-1 bomber, and a B-2 bomber, which is the flying
Yeah.
wing, all three in formation.
Yeah.
Three of our most iconic bombers
Well, I saw that they were
Amazing.
formation over Miami Beach.
they were there was something they were loading up that B-1B, the wing one, with this bunker busting.
That's the
yeah.
B-2 is the
B2.
flying wing.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's get back
Well,
on,
yeah,
we,
cars.
we, we have shifted
Yeah.
to world news. And as
Right.
far as Stu's question about us living as close to the ocean
You ever
as
see
we
a
do,
periscope?
no, we have these rose-tinted sunglasses on.
Right, you just
all
see
we
beauty.
see, all yeah,
Happiness.
Yeah, all we do,
I gotcha.
and meditation.
I have a serious. I got a serious one though. If you guys want to get to it.
okay.
All right, this is anonymous feedback. It says, I loved hearing how much Tesla autonomous driving, FSD, has improved. I'd love to get a Cybertruck, but it's too expensive and hard to get, so I'll settle for a Model Y. I'd put the Tesla charger in my garage, and like you said, and charge it after midnight. Thanks for the advice. Hey, well, you're welcome.
You know,
great.
that reminded Nancy and I were talking in the car that the Tesla Y is the #1 selling model car in the world.
Yes.
So it's amazing what's happened worldwide on that. As long as Tesla came up, I've got to give you an update on the
Oh, how exciting.
on the autonomous.
Okay.
Nancy and I are going everywhere on autonomous. When we go in the Tesla, whether we're passengers, we get in the Tesla, and we put in a destination, and we let the Tesla total self-driving take us where we're going.
And I'm going to interrupt you for a second, but I talk to her more than you do.
Yes.
Yeah, and when she gets crazy, and she does get crazy on the road, I really have to talk to her, unlike Earl.
One of the things that I'm learning as much about from self-driving as self-driving is being educated to get better. The first impression, if any of you do try autonomous self-driving, is it will seem scary. Sometimes it is scary, but most of the times
keep
when you
your eyes
think it's scary, I have discovered that the autonomous function in our Tesla is smarter, better than human drivers. They are able, through these network of cameras, think of this, you have two eyes. Your eyes are in front of your face, I hope, and you see straight ahead. And the Tesla's eyes are 360 degrees high up and low down on the car. Now imagine if you had 8 eyes and your brain could process everything that was seen, front, back, sideways, up and down, everywhere, in a millionth of a second. That's what the computer on the autonomous car does. So when I'll see the Tesla taking Nancy and I, for example, to the radio show this morning, and I'm going on alternate A1A in South Florida, and Tesla autonomous took us into another lane. Well, if I were driving, I'd have never gone in that lane because I thought the left lane was going to get me there faster. The Tesla had seen down the road, or maybe using Google Maps or whatever map system, they knew that there was congestion and to move over before it was even visible to a human being.
Yeah.
So every time now there was something that I have attributed to the past before. Sometimes I would take the autonomous off because I was afraid that the Tesla had really screwed up. But now I leave the autonomous on until I absolutely have to take it off. And Nancy was taking us the other day somewhere, and it made a wrong turn. Oh, we're going to the post office. And Nancy was a passenger in behind the driver's seat. I was a passenger in the regular passenger compartment, and it actually made a wrong turn, went into an apartment
And I gave
complex instead of the post office. So they do make mistakes, and it's in the mapping mainly, but they do make mistakes. But more often than not, they drive better than we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as the navigation is concerned, you know, the address is, you know, entered. All of the facts are right there. But she can make a mistake. And I think it comes with the fact that maybe she hasn't been on that road before, or maybe the infrastructure changed in some way. But as Earl said, it's really a safe way to drive, and it will be amazing when there are electric vehicles everywhere with all these cameras, and they can make the decision that we hesitate to make. For now, I'm not real happy when she decides that, you know, she's going to, well, kind of slide over into the right lane. Then she comes back over into the left lane because, as Earl said, the camera is there, and she can see that it was a bad idea for her to get over into the right lane. So my concern are the combustion, you know, cars, and they're not keeping an eye on an electric vehicle and what we're doing. But here's an article that may interest everyone with everything that Earl and I just spoke about. Tesla Y was a top-selling vehicle worldwide in 2023 based on registrations, and this is just amazing. Electric vehicles are going to be everywhere, and be careful out there because there's some fake news that's out there, and that fake news is coming from some pretty reputable, you know, articles in the automotive news, in the Wall Street Journal that I checked on this morning, and how everyone's turning in their electric vehicle for a combustion car. That's ridiculous. So anyway, I rest my case. 877-960-9960. You can text us from at 772-497-6530. Later I'll share a driverless cars roaming Phoenix. Rick?
Neo Shazam is asking, any update on when Crown Signia will be on the lot, or sliced pricing, or still waiting for Toyota to provide that info?
Still waiting for Toyota to provide that info, but it will be this year, I hear. So it looks great. They just put something else out. I saw a picture of one. For all you Crown fans out there, Nancy, wait do you see the Crown Insignia? It's really pretty.
It's a crossover, right? It's a Venza.
Yes, but they're saying it's like the world's greatest station wagon. We were talking about crossovers last week.
So it's better than the Crown that I was driving?
It's a newer version of it. It's a different version. It's more station wagon like. I can't describe it. It's lower to the ground.
Oh, how nice.
And it looks very nice. So that might be something you want to think about, Ms. Nancy.
Absolutely.
That's
wow.
right.
That's amazing.
I have a text from Roadrunner Steve. Beep, beep. He yells, in all caps on the text,
Oh, boy.
Russian sailor jumped ship to buy an Earl Stewart Toyota pickup. Beep, beep.
I can't believe that I missed that news about the Russians. I must.
I know you're flashing back to 1963.
But I think back to the Cuban Missile Crisis, and that was scary. I was in college, and I can remember coming home from University of Florida and passing me on the turnpike,
armored vehicles,
tanks, planes,
Missiles.
guided missiles. That was a scary time. So I didn't realize that Russia was playing around over at Cuba again.
The big red dog is digging on our backyard again.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought that was fake news. I saw that on Facebook.
No, it's
And I just,
yeah.
I don't know, over it.
It's kind of exciting.
Yeah, isn't it? 877-960-9960. Ladies, I'm waiting for the ladies to take advantage of the $50 for the first two new callers. We are going to go back to the phones. We'll talk to Marty. Good morning, Marty.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, thank you.
A couple items. First, on my Crown, the color that they put in there is heavy metal. They don't even say heavy metal gray. They just say heavy metal. So in the registration, obviously, it says gray. So they got some crazy names for gray.
That is a crazy name. Heavy metal.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to say, isn't Toyota banking a lot on hybrids versus electric?
Oh yeah. They took the hybrid route. Everybody said they were crazy. Akio Toyoda, the chairman of the board. Matter of fact, there's even some proxies being worked on to not allow Toyota to re-elect Akio Toyoda, chairman of the board, because they say he made such a big mistake by not jumping into the electric vehicle. Now, the excitement has slowed down somewhat on electric vehicles, and sales are getting flat. Tesla sales are actually down, and now Akio Toyoda is pretty much recognized as being able to see the future more clearly than a lot of the other manufacturers. Yeah, hybrid will be the name of the game for the next 10, 15 years, but in 20 and 25 years, it will be EVs. EVs are coming, but not as fast as everybody thought.
All right, well, then I'm glad I got my Crown now. I'm not going to worry about 25 years.
Me either.
Yeah, you have a great vehicle, Marty.
The other thing is, this is a big week for me. I'm getting my second key finally.
Hey.
And it's, I got an appointment on Friday with this dealer to get the key. How long does it take to program it?
Maybe half an hour, 45 minutes. And that, if you spend a full hour at the dealership, I'd be surprised.
Okay.
They should have you out of there within 1 hour total time from you driving in to driving out.
Okay, yeah. Now they say they have to order it. So in other words, they order it from Toyota, and it takes a couple days to get it or something.
Yeah, what normally happens is Toyota will say, okay, we have these available, and so they will order your key for you. Then when you come in, the key will be there waiting, and they will cut the little niblet mechanical key and then program the electronic portion onto your car, and you'll be all set and out of there.
Okay. All right. I still think Toyota was, well, I guess they wanted to produce cars, but I think going through all this rigmarole to get the second key, I don't think was a good idea.
I've seen horror stories on the web of folks saying that they're waiting over 2 years and still haven't gotten their second key because of issues with their dealerships.
Yeah.
Where the dealer will get keys in and they give them to their favorite or whoever the loudest complainer is, and the folks that just really aren't making a lot of noise, they're waiting 2 years to get a new key.
In other words, that key that Toyota sends them can really be used for anybody.
For that model of car, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully, I'm gonna see. Now, Earl said, I guess Earl or Nancy said a couple weeks ago that the Tesla went through a red light.
Yes. Yes.
So I guess, luckily, nothing was coming.
Yes.
Yeah, it is far from perfect, and I always have my hands on the wheel, lightly, but on the wheel, and Nancy does the same thing, because I don't want to give the impression that they're perfect right now. This I think I know what caused that. issue, and it happened at a time of morning when the sun had just come up, and it was coming up out of the east. We were going south, and so it was shining onto the left side of the car where the passenger was, and the light, this traffic light was a lower light than it wasn't real high up. And it didn't see the light. The cameras, lenses on that side of the car at this time of day with the sun unobstructed was shining. I couldn't. I had my visor down on the left side of my driver window, and because it was blinding me, the sun was blinding me. So the sun blinded the cameras on the Tesla ran the red light.
Yeah.
And, theoretically, running the red light, you could get killed. Well, I let it run the red light because there were no cars on the road. It was early in the morning.
I think there were 2 incidents, weren't there? That morning, you were by yourself.
Yeah.
You were coming to the show.
With the light sun issue, yeah.
Yeah. So, Marty, we've learned 2 things. With all this rain that we've had, autonomous sometimes just isn't a good idea because some of the cameras, I hate to use the word blinded, but that seems to have happened, during this event that we had the other day with rain.
Yeah, you get a message on the screen in front of you in the driver list where you're looking at the driver list happen in front of you, and the message came up due to weather conditions, the fully autonomous may not be functioning properly.
I remember that happened even a few years ago. They were saying that.
Yeah.
And we've had some real thunderstorms and downpours here in South Florida the past few days. And when the rain is really coming down hard and you can't see, the cameras on the autonomous cars are also blinded. So they're going to have to figure out how to fix that because you got to, people drive in the rain. That's just reality.
Yeah.
So they need to fix that.
So
Maybe going back to radar or something.
Exactly.
In other words, as long as you're paying attention, and you would have seen a car coming.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, a focus is just mandatory, and sometimes you just have to make the decision to deactivate the autonomous until it's a little bit safer. I'm not saying that you can't drive in the rain on autonomous. You can, but the downpours were so dramatic, it was blinding.
Yeah. All right, I guess my car's only 4 months old, so I'm going to hang on to it.
Hang on to it.
That's a good idea. That crown is amazing.
Yeah. All right, have a good weekend.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Marty. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. We are going to talk to Jasmine, and she is calling us from Miami. And guess what? She's a first-time caller. That makes me happy. Hi, Jasmine.
Good morning. Good morning.
Jasmine, congratulations. You just won yourself $50.
Oh, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
You so much.
What you have to do is you have to leave your information with Jeremy in our control room. That's your contact information. He passes that along to me, and I send you a check at that address that you leave with Jeremy. Make sense?
Okay. Yes, it does.
Okay, Jasmine, what can we do for you?
Okay. I've been paranoid since the rain, and I'm in the market for a new car. I like sitting up high. I'm not the tallest person in the world. I'm like 5'5".
Oh, wow, you are very tall compared to me. I'm 5'3" and a quarter.
Oh, my God.
and a quarter.
You're tiny.
Don't you be laughing at me, Stu. We got I work with some tall boys here.
I have to tie a balloon on Nancy when we go into a department store because she disappears.
Oh, that's hilarious. That is just so funny. Okay, Jasmine.
I was thinking about the Forerunner. I've been shopping around looking at, I live closest to County Line, and the closest one I've noticed is low inventory. It's like one at headquarters, Toyota, and a few at North, I think that's North Miami.
Yeah.
But my question was, like, currently, I know the 2025 is coming out. like, is this it for the 2024? Like, will they be getting any more, or
This is it. Yeah. So
this is it?
the remaining stock of 2024s are going to be selling down. So they're just going to get less and less available. There could be some incentives put on these, but I doubt it because they're not. It's not a big high volume vehicle. That something like that could take some of the sting out. And then the new 4Runner in 2025, if you've probably looked up, is going to be it's a brand new model, and it's a brand new engine and everything, and there's a lot of excitement for it. So there might be a little bit of a wait for those as they start to come in the 2025. So it is kind of a tough time right now to get a new 4Runner. But there are, there's, late model used ones are also a very good, because the 4Runner was the exact same vehicle from 2012, or is it, Rick? For 10 years, it's the same body style. So whether you get a 2024, 23, 22, 21, it's the exact same truck with some differences on like some of the, electronic features and things like that.
Okay, Stu, I have a
Yes.
question for you
Yeah.
with what Jasmine just said about looking for a vehicle.
Uh-huh.
And she's talking about a 2024, 2023, 2025. So what I mentioned earlier when we opened the show, I talked about incentives. I talked about them, there's more incentive right now. Would that apply to any vehicle that Jasmine mentioned?
Probably not. And the reason for that is, usually, incentives come out when manufacturers and dealers, when vehicles aren't moving and there's too many of them, and that's not really the case. So these are coming along. What I wanted to say was, though, as far as a reliable car, and Earl's going to say Consumer Reports, I'll stick a flag on this hill. 4Runner is probably the most reliable car you can get. Is a legend in the car business, and it has a huge fan club. And if you couldn't wait or wouldn't be able to find a brand new one, I really think a year or two old 4Runner would be great.
And also, Jasmine, there's a few places that you can go to just get some information and help you make a decision as to what kind of a vehicle you want to purchase, in light of the fact that you mentioned you're a bit short. Okay,
And
so
I sit up high. I'm like addicted to that.
yeah, you want to sit. You
tough.
want to sit up high. Well, there's a lot of information in Consumer Report. The internet is a great place to go for information, and it's also a great place to purchase a vehicle. Nobody knows who you are, whether you're male, female, and that way you're just not attacked when you go into a dealership. The only reason you need to go into a dealership, Jasmine, is to take the car out for a drive, just to confirm whether it's the vehicle you want, whether you sit where you want to sit, and whether the interior is comfortable.
Mhm.
Okay.
Wow.
I know a lot of people are waiting for this the new 2025 4Runner. It's a redesign, so there will be.
So bulky to me.
A lot of people will not like it. A lot of people will not like the turbo. They just there's a 4Runner fan club, but there's a lot of people who are waiting for the new one, and so there's going to be a lot of really great older model. I mean, the ones traded in on those. So you're going to see dealers as the 25s come in. There's going to be a lot of. It might even help with the pricing on a used 4Runner. I mean, they do hold their value, but when there's a lot coming on the market, they might come down, and that could be an advantage for you.
And Jasmine, the 4Runner is a beautiful vehicle. You do sit high, but I can tell you that the RAV4, you will also sit as high as you want to sit, and it has taken number one place. It has taken the place of the Camry. The Camry's always been number one. I use the term loosely, for a very long time the Camry's been number one. But the RAV4, I want to tell you what, the comfort.
Let's not turn this into a Toyota commercial,
The
please.
style. Jasmine's looking for a vehicle, and I want to steer her in the right direction. She doesn't want to have to carry a ladder around with her to drive her vehicle. So, RAV4, 4Runner. Okay, Jasmine, I think I said enough.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Don't forget to stay on the line.
Oh, I won't. And happy Father's Day to the men on the.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for calling. Spread the word, Jasmine. You were part of the building factor for the platform here for the ladies. They hear you and they're encouraged to call rather than text. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. We're going to go back to Stu.
I am all caught up. I just checked over here on the text, thinking that maybe Road Runner Steve had something else to say. But Rick, what's it looking like over there on YouTube?
No, your anonymous feedback?
I'm all caught up.
Okay.
We're
Rick?
pretty caught up here right now.
Okay, the floor is yours, recovering car dealer.
Well, one thing that we should have told everybody earlier about buying a car now. There's something called COVID cars. I read across that term in automotive news, and COVID cars will be those cars that were built without microchips and delivered to dealers and then delivered to customers. So think about this. For over 3 years, people have been buying cars that were incomplete, and they're used cars now. They're being traded in. So when you buy a used car for the next few years, you've got to figure out whether or not it's got all its marbles. Does it have all of its equipment? Backup
Is there a
cameras.
source or a resource that tells you this? I mean, is there like a website you can go?
I think I think the internet would be the way to go.
Yeah.
I think maybe even ChatGPT, artificial intelligence. There's a lot of sources you can find out. The dealership should tell you. The manufacturer would tell you online. But no matter what you buy, if you buy a car that was sold new in the past 3 to 4 years, you should find out if you have all of the car, because as you all know, or maybe you don't know,
Chips missing for heated seats, other functions on the car.
There's lane changes.
A lot of features that were not
backup.
available. Yeah.
So many different things, and I'm not going to be sitting by my phone waiting for someone to call me to tell me that the car that I purchased, the last 3 years, or as Earl said,
The rest of it came in.
yeah, exactly. One of your electronic accessory parts came in, so it's best that you check on that.
Yeah, if you buy from a private owner or through a third-party buying source and not a dealer, you should go to the dealer and then to the manufacturer. Rick?
I'm not sure if this is correct or not. I'm basing this off my knowledge with Toyotas. I know cars that we had, like the second key situation, they were issued a safety campaign so that it was alerted that your car was one of them without that second key.
Right.
So if so, wouldn't all these be searchable on safercar.gov?
If all the manufacturers did that, I would imagine.
So that's somewhere I would use as a resource.
I hope it's that way, but I don't think it is. I mean, I don't think.
Well, like my missing key on the Tundra I'm driving is it's part of. If I run my VIN, it shows as a recall campaign that it's waiting on this other key.
Well, let's test that so we could give an answer. But if of all the cars that are coming in, like backup cameras were big, so you would say. You would say if a backup camera was on a car, it would be on a safercar.gov that the backup camera should be on the car, but it's not.
Right. So that way, well,
You're
it makes
asking
good
me.
sense.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
don't
what
know.
I'm thinking is it makes good sense anyways if you're looking at a used car to run that VIN on safercar.gov anyways to see if there's open campaigns.
Yeah, I picked that up
That's
from
a good
Automotive
point.
News, which is in the opinion section of Automotive News. It was the
I think that's page 12.
editor's. It was the editor's op-ed, and his daughter had just bought a car, a new car, used car. Come to find out that the one of the items that was supposed to be on there wasn't on there, and the dealer didn't tell her. But we'll find out. We'll research the answer on that, and it's called, the opinion article is called "What's Happened to COVID Cars." Funny you should ask. Do the vehicles assembled during that time have a higher rate of needing repair? If so, are they identifiable in some way that might cause their value to change? And Rick has just suggested it might be on safercar.gov. So we'll check that out and get an answer for you.
Okay, we're going to go to Mike, who's calling us from Sunrise. My question, Mike, did your car, get into some, deep water during the event that took place in Miami?
No.
Great. That's great news. Congratulations. Keep it dry.
I will. And
Okay.
thank you for your show.
Oh, you're welcome. What can we do for you this morning, Mike?
I drive a 2013 Toyota RAV4, and I think from day one I've had this issue, but it's just gotten much, much worse. I'm driving along 45, 50 miles an hour, whatever it is. Doesn't usually happen at higher speeds, but I give it gas, whether it be coming out of a turn or passing lane, and there's just nothing there. And I pump the gas a few times, and finally, after 4 or 5 seconds, I'm driving again. It's gotten worse. It's probably 2-3 times a week now. And I just thought I'd ask and see if anybody's heard of this.
And what are you driving?
2013 Toyota RAV4.
Okay. Can I ask one silly question here?
Sure.
When you're driving, how many feet are you using on the pedals?
2.
Okay. Is there a possibility that your left foot is touching the brake pedal when you're driving?
No, I put that left foot on the footrest on the left.
Okay, because the reason I asked that, we had a customer that was using 2 feet on the pedals with an automatic transmission car, and when you step on the brake on Toyotas, it automatically negates any input from the accelerator pedal. That's so you can't, the car can't race away from you. That came from that floor mat and gas pedal issue we had about 15 years ago. So, okay, so to rule that one out, do you have any check engine lights coming on?
No. And I have brought it to a car repair place a couple of years back, and they found it nothing.
Okay, so you've got an intermittent concern. I would probably be looking at the airflow meter, the mass airflow meter, to see if it's operating properly. Because excuse me, sorry about that.
Okay.
That would be my most likely choice, is the
Mass airflow.
airflow meter.
Okay. I will have that checked, and hopefully that's it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for calling, and hope that
Thank
works out. Let us
you.
know how it worked out.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, I see by the clock it is 9:22, and I think we're going to talk about Ducky.
Huh? We got Ducky coming up. Ducky
We got
the
Ducky
doggy.
coming up. And
I do have some text that came in if we want to delay Ducky by a couple of minutes.
Yes.
So we can do that. We have
I'll
Jonathan and Pomkos.
I'll give her a treat. You
Okay.
got it?
All right, Jonathan Pomkos. What's Earl? Do you think that Volkswagen will ever produce the Beetle again? It was a popular model. Yeah, it was. I mean,
I think they did that once, didn't they? I mean,
they did. It reappeared, the new Beetle, and then they discontinued it a few years ago. So I think, and I will Google this after I say this. Didn't they? And Rick might know this. Didn't they continue to make the old Beetle in Mexico? And they continued to make it in Mexico?
That was one of the rumors that I'm pretty certain is true.
Okay.
That a Mexican company bought out the old factory tooling from Germany for the original Beetles, and they were still building them like crazy and selling them as taxi cabs and everything else, because it's such a simple, straightforward little car, very easy to
They
maintain.
do that with a lot of models. When
yeah.
Nancy and I were doing a lot of traveling, South America, we'd be in Peru or Argentina or someplace, and we would see these pristine, cherry, old cars. And I say, how do they keep the cars so nice? And I finally asked our guide, and he says, those are new cars. So it'd be like the Beetle or some classic car. I guess it's probably a cheaper deal. You get a car company down there that doesn't want to invest a lot of money in new tools. They buy the old tools to build a Studebaker.
Yeah. Well, this company built the old style Beetle, the original Beetle, until 2019. They ceased production in July 10, 2019. And they were making them. They called them Vochos. They were making. They're the taxis in Mexico, and so the Vochos. And eventually, they I think, because of safety reasons or something, they revoked all Vocho taxi licenses in 2012. But anyway, kind of interesting. So yeah, there is a ongoing production until just 5 years ago of the original Beetle in Mexico. It's really cool. But no, Jonathan, I don't know if Volkswagen is going to do it. I think they would. I think it's a popular, iconic model that a coming back as an electric vehicle, autonomous vehicle in the future would be a huge event, and so they're probably they're waiting for that moment. That's what I think.
Well, and the main thing about the original Beetles was that there was just such a bone stock car.
Yeah.
No air conditioning.
Yeah, you can fix it yourself.
Yeah, the heater was simply
Engine heat.
fan that circulated air around the exhaust manifolds back into the car.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just such a basic,
I drove one.
simple thing.
I had a 71 Super Beetle.
I had a 73. Yeah.
This one's probably for Earl. This is from Bob. He says, "Good morning. What is your opinion on when to drop collision coverage on a vehicle? Insurance in Florida has gone through the roof."
Well, it depends on your financial situation, and I look at insurance as something that you buy if should the worst case scenario happen. You wouldn't have the financial resources to take care of it. If you're comfortable enough with your savings and your investments, that you have enough money saved, that should you dent a fender or a worst case scenario, have to fix the car, you're better off to bank what you would pay for the insurance premium, especially as you say now in Florida with the premiums. I think Florida has the second highest auto insurance in the United States today. So if you could possibly just take that money, put it into the stock market and blue chip stocks. The stock market is averaging 10% return a year over the past 50 years. So speaking in the long term, you would actually come out way ahead to bank the money rather than pay the insurance premium. But if it's something that you couldn't get fixed, you got to have your car, you better have the insurance.
All right. Let's see. Last one here. Who's this from? I'll figure it out later. Hi, guys. I love your show and am just too nervous to talk on the air. I have a Kia Forte 2020, and from about 6 months in from owning the car, I had a smell coming from the AC that I would expect to come from a 16-year-old car, kind of a mildew AC smell. We know what this is. I'll continue. Took the car in, and they changed my cabin filter. They did a flush on the AC. Smell always comes back. I did have the compressor die, and they replaced that, but the smell is intermittent, and it just seems to be something they can't fix. It's definitely not cabin filter related. That's what they always go back to. Any ideas? I talked to some other people with the same year car, same model, and no one has a problem with this. I talked to the guy who sold the car to me, and he said he never heard of it. And it's almost like I won the reverse lottery. Isn't that something? I'd love to hear a nice sarcastic comment like that from somebody when I'm suffering from something. Do I need a new car? It's very annoying. It doesn't happen every time, but when it does, it's gross. Thank you. Love the show. Toyota had a problem with something similar sounding to this, and it had to do with moisture that built up in an area of the car. It wasn't fully ventilated, and so it created like this moldy smell. And Toyota corrected this, I believe, immediately. They run the air down by the feet. It kind of blows that air, gets circulation before it starts shooting it up at your face. So if that's happening in your car, Rick probably has a better idea. But my idea is to before you start the car, put the as soon as you start it, because it's probably electronic, put the blowers down by your feet, the vents coming out at your feet for the first couple of minutes, and let it go there, and that'll air it out before you blow it right in your face and smell the mildewy smell. There might be some other solutions that, because we tried to figure out stuff on our own before Toyota even came up with a fix on this. Rick?
One suggestion is when you're on your way home and you're about a half mile from the house, switch it from recirculate air to fresh air.
That's right.
So that it gives a chance for fresh air to get in and help reduce that moisture buildup. Bear in mind, there is also the potential
This was a flood car.
that it
this
could
was
be
new.
a flood car, but
This is new, so
it could also potentially be you might have a visitor in there. You might have gotten a lizard or a frog
Small
or a
rodent.
mouse that got in there and died. And as its pieces are breaking down, you're getting those bursts of odor.
that's really gross, Rick.
Yeah, but I've seen it happen.
I know. So
Very
It's
true.
a Florida thing. It's
Right.
an all over thing, but yeah.
Well, let's just
But-
say, I think that they might. I mean, you can tell the difference between mildew and death.
Sometimes, but sometimes it gets. You're only getting a part of it,
You're right.
and
You're right. It's a bad smell. So
Yeah.
that's the thing. Get somebody in to inspect it. Tell the. Well, they replaced the filters. Would they see that? Are they looking in the right space, the right spot?
Not really, because the filter's usually over behind the air condition, behind the glove box,
Okay.
to make it a convenient spot to get to.
Okay. All right. Well, try those things. I hope it works out for you. Yeah, we know how that is. It's gross. So good luck. All right.
Okay, I think we're ready for Ducky. Ducky is a mixed breed, and he is the featured dog of the week. And by being the featured dog of the week, all of the fees are paid. And Big Dog Ranch is having a pretty big event for Father's Day out there, and it's called the 100 Puppy Palooza.
Puppy-palooza.
Yeah, and the reduced adoption fees, and more. So it'd be a great time to go out and pay a visit to all of these puppies out there. Back to Ducky. Ducky's 2 years old, and she's a mixed breed, 40.5 pounds. And Ducky was rescued from the Redlands and brought to Big Dog Ranch, and is enjoying her stay out there.
What is the Redlands?
The-
Is that in Miami?
From, I believe it is.
The Redlands.
Redlands.
I'm from Miami.
Miami-Dade, possibly.
I'm from Miami. I never heard of that.
Yeah, you were born in Miami. So anyway, she's energetic, and she's good with other dogs. She loves to cuddle, and she loves toys, and she's a great dog to have. So you might want to go to Big Dog Ranch Rescue. That's www.bdrr.org, and check out Ducky and so many of the other dogs. So I believe that Jonathan has a video for us.
Hi, I'm Riley here at Big Dog Ranch Rescue in Loxahatchee Grove. I'm here with Ducky. She's 2 years old. She's a mixed breed. She was rescued from the Redlands and brought here. She's so sweet. She just loves to cuddle. She's very friendly. She loves to play with other dogs. She's gotten along well when I first met her. She just wants to be loved and cuddled all the time. She is the sweetest girl with just a beautiful coat.
She looks like Pete the pup from
I
Little
actually
Rascals.
love her. She's so cute. Say hi. You're just a good girl. She doesn't really like to run around and play with much toys, but I think she's more of a calmer demeanor. Or she just wants to be loved because she's been scared from the past.
Oh, she is so pretty.
You want a belly rub? Yeah.
Does want a belly.
You just want belly rubs.
She's so cute.
Oh, she is just a lovable doggy. Oh my gosh, she is just like you said, going around. She just wants to lie down and lean on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, she's a couple years old, 2 years old.
She is a two 2 years old. Not
2 years old.
She's 2 years old.
2 years old.
2 years old. She's a small breed, mixed breed.
Yeah, she's
Well,
awesome.
they say small, but they list her as 40 pounds.
Yeah, well,
I'd say medium. Yeah, she looks like
They-
about 40 pounds.
they list her as 40.5 pounds. So that might, that half pound might not be something. Anyway, on a positive note here, again, they're having a big event out at Big Dog Ranch. You might want to take advantage of running out to Big Dog Ranch. Be a great weekend, Father's Day weekend, because this is a Father's Day Palooza. It's a 100 puppy Palooza. And as I mentioned earlier, adoption fees and so many other fees are reduced. And as everyone knows, and it may be holding you back, adopting or purchasing anything with a dog today, it is definitely expensive. And I believe they have a program out there where they give a bag of dog food. Rick, Stu,
They are awesome. But I want people to go out this weekend on the Father's Day Puppy Palooza weekend.
Yeah.
And go out there and meet Ducky. And this will be the easiest dog to get because you mentioned Earl on cars, and we're going to take care of the adoption fees for you.
for Ducky.
For Ducky, because I'm looking. I'm sorry, Nancy. I couldn't stop staring at Ducky. She's so cute.
Oh, is she cute?
Yes, she's cute.
We missed the Earl and I just missed that video. I misplaced it.
Isn't there a famous dog that looks like that?
That's what I was saying from Little Rascals.
Oh, that's okay. I wasn't listening. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Little Rascals, they had like a circle drawn.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of. She has a patch over one of her eyes, so one's white and the other's brown. For our non-viewing audience.
You remember
So
the Little
cute.
Rascals? Wow.
Yeah, it was on TV when I was little.
Wow. That's amazing. Okay.
Well, for the newer listeners that don't know why we have this liaison, this partnership with Big Dog Ranch, the Big Dog Ranch is not just a shelter for dogs. It's just not. There's a million shelters for dogs everywhere. Thank God for that. They're all over the country.
This is a
Big
ranch.
Dog Ranch is unique in the fact that they're the biggest no-kill shelter. Probably the world. I mean, they don't euthanize their dogs, and consequently, the other shelters and almost all shelters. I'm not blaming the shelters. It's
doing
a
what they
terrible
can.
reality that what do you do when you have no more room and people are abandoning dogs and dogs are being turned into the shelters? What do you do? Well, fortunately, we have Big Dog Ranch Rescue, and they're in Loxahatchee, Florida, which is part of Palm Beach County. No one's heard of Loxahatchee, but it's a huge facility in Palm Beach County, Florida.
It is a ranch.
It
I
is,
mean,
yeah.
it's the size of a ranch, and the
Acres
dogs.
and acres.
And you mentioned it's no kill, but it's also the largest no kill, no cage shelter. The dogs are not in cages;
Yeah.
they have dorm rooms.
So they bring them in by the truckload. They bring dogs in from Georgia, from
Tennessee.
from China. They actually fly dogs in from other countries. So Lori Simmons is the founder of this. She finances a lot of this herself. It is an extremely expensive operation because every dog is checked out thoroughly. The potential adopters are background checked. The dogs are dewormed. They check for vaccinations and everything. They go through a quarantine process. They have living facilities out there for these dogs and puppies, even a maternity row for the pregnant dogs. I mean, it is something should be in the Guinness Book of World Records. They're something unique in the world. So they have hundreds and hundreds of dogs. So even if you're not from Florida, if you were to go to Big Dog Ranch Rescue, www.bdrr, as in Big Dog Ranch Rescue.org, and look at what they have there. You couldn't go wrong to adopt a dog there. If you're going to adopt a dog, you should check, because when you adopt a dog there, you're literally saving a dog's life, because that'll make room for another dog to go to Big Dog Ranch Rescue.
I have good news for everybody who sometimes struggles with the Big Dog website. I'm not, I don't want to be critical, but BDRR, come on.
Yeah.
But if you typed in bigdogranchrescue.com, it will direct you immediately
.org.
to .org, so
.org.
you can't
Good.
screw it up. You can't mess it up.
Exactly. And you know what else, Stu? You can apply for adoption by going to the website ahead of time and filling out an application, before you go out there.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you this. They're not just passing dogs out to just anybody. You've got to, just
Yeah, you
like
gotta be
anybody else,
you
a
gotta be a good
background.
person.
Now, I've had people call me and say I went out there and they wouldn't let me adopt the dog, and without getting into details but they, some people just
some
really
came up on-
shouldn't have
I
a
agree.
dog, and they don't want a dog to go into a home that's going to end up in a shelter again. They want a loving, a lifetime home for the dogs.
Yeah, and their veterans program out there, it's amazing. It takes a while to pair up that dog with this person, the veteran, that's come out there to purchase or to adopt a dog. And it's just an amazing journey. It just takes some time to get the veteran and this dog together. And once they do, the veteran, he's so happy. And he's so happy because there's so many programs for him and his new, partner, I'll call him, that new adoption. Also, what makes this even more important is Earl's book. And you can purchase Earl's book, and that purchase is $19.95. I haven't checked recently. I know it was reduced there for a while, but $19.95. And guess where the proceeds go when you purchase that
It's
book?
on Amazon, Amazon.com.
100% of that purchase goes to Big Dog Ranch. And as Earl said, you can go to Amazon.com and you can purchase the vehicle. That's Earl's book. That's
Confessions of a Recovering Car Dealer.
Confessions of a Recovering Car Dealer. Okay, folks, we are going to skip ahead here while we have time to the mystery shopping report, which is AutoNation's Cadillac. And I have to remind you that you do have to go to our text number if you want to vote. And we certainly appreciate you voting. We want to know how you feel about each and every one of these mystery shopping reports. And you can go to that text number, 772-497-6530. AutoNation Cadillac.
Yeah, that's in West Palm Beach, right, very near the studio here in South Florida. I'm speaking in the first person as if I were Agent Lightning, who is our undercover agent. I arrived mid-morning and was greeted by two salesmen as I walked in the door. One of the salespeople was working with a customer, and I thought I was with them and with the other party. The other salesman who was available said hello and asked, "Do you need help today?" I replied yes, and I asked if they had any Escalades available. He said, as a matter of fact, we do, a few of them, including this one on the showroom floor. He gestured to a huge white SUV behind him. It was a new 2024 Cadillac Escalade Sport. I said, perfect. I want to get pricing today, and I plan on moving forward with my husband this evening as long as all the numbers look good. He nodded, asked if I'd like to take a look inside, to which I replied, most definitely. I had one many moons ago. I'm anxious to possibly own one again. He went for the keys and then unlocked it for me to climb into the driver's seat. He had me hold down the start button until it went into demo mode.
I thought that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to try that in one of our cars. Do they do that, Rick?
I don't think so.
Okay, I won't do that.
Since we're inside. He walked around and had a seat next to me, apologized for not introducing himself, extended his hand for a shake and said, "I'm Abby, A-B-B-I." He then went over all the many features that this sports utility vehicle offered. I said, I saw online they have the Costco pricing with $1,000 off. He said, we do not discount the Escalades at all and are the only dealership around that sells them just for MSRP. Now that raised the question, And I checked on this. They are a Costco-approved dealer.
But here's the thing: they don't have to.
Right.
If they don't want to give the special
Right.
pricing for that, they don't have to. So
Yeah, they
that's what
didn't
we
make that clear. They are a Costco-approved dealer, and unless they have taken the Escalade off of their Costco pricing sheet, they're obligated by their contract with Costco to give you a very good price, meaning the lower price than they would sell the car for to anyone else. So,
Well, an interesting test, and I'll do this after the show. If you search on Costco and go
Yeah.
through the whole thing, if I can get a price or a lead on the Escalade, that means they've listed the Escalade, which means there has to be a special price, and then this wasn't true. So we will verify and let you guys know next week what we found out.
and that's important because we don't know here whether this Cadillac dealer, AutoNation Cadillac, was violating the contractual obligation of Costco, or in fact, as Stu said, if they have a car that is so short supply and high demand that they don't want to give you a good price, they cannot put it on the Costco pricing sheet. So, message to all car buyers, really, if you're going to buy a car, you're better off to buy it on the Costco auto buying program, but you have to find a Costco-approved dealer for that is also listing that car that you want to buy. Otherwise, you're right back where you started, and they're just going to negotiate as high a price as they can get.
Those dealerships that have that Costco program, can you also save on parts and service?
Yes, they have I think it's a 15% discount.
15.
Or 20% maybe on parts.
I think it's 15 that I read.
Okay. Most other dealerships are selling them. It's a salesman talking to me now, and he said most other dealerships are selling his Escalades for $10,000 all the way up to $50,000 above MSRP. Now, I don't believe that.
I never saw that.
I don't believe that.
Hellcat, maybe.
It's possible, a year ago or 2 years ago, in the heart of the COVID issue and the microchip shortage and the rest of it, inventories were non-existent. But by his own admission, he has several Escalades in stock. And bear in mind, this is an AutoNation store. I advise people in general, when you're shopping car dealerships, to look at a AutoNation store favorably because they're a publicly owned company. They've been around for a long time. They're one of the first big public companies for selling automobiles, auto dealerships. Represented they're number 2 or number 3 in volume. They used to be the largest retailer. Now they're, I think, the second or third largest retailer of cars. So when you're a publicly traded company and you're in the spotlight. So if you break the law, you do something wrong, it's really bad news because they come after you, and there's a lot of money there to be made by the lawyers. So you typically find the publicly owned car companies are more careful about taking advantage of you than the individually owned dealerships. So back to MSRP, I found the Monroney label was sitting on the front passenger seat. So right away, after I just made that little speech about publicly traded companies, here's a publicly traded company, traded on the New York Stock Exchange, breaking the law. Now, if that was any other kind of a company, that would be serious.
I don't have the same reverence for the publicly traded companies as you do. I mean, Penske is a publicly traded company.
They're subject to a lawsuit because, see, there's the fiduciary responsibility of the board of directors on a publicly traded company to protect the stockholders.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I just it doesn't mean that they're a good company and they get that.
But the fact of the matter is, and you're absolutely right, they're almost as bad as the non-publicly traded companies.
And it's not like they built these things from the ground up. It's a publicly traded company that came and bought, a privately owned dealership and kept doing it the same way.
So the Monroney labels on the front passenger seat, the MSRP was $105,410, and there was no addendum. That doesn't mean much because just because there's no addendum means they're not telling you how they're gouging you with dealer installed accessories. So you find out later. He didn't offer a test drive, which is just bad salesmanship. It's just you rarely ever see that. And then asked if I had any questions. I said I'd love to know what my price would be. He said, of course. And we walked over to a table. he was a clever salesman. He asked me for my cell number so I could send him my info, but was so polite I couldn't tell him no. So it's a clever way, I say clever in the negative spirit of the word, to get your personal information, which is your cell phone number. So he was clever. He then texted me his business card and had me send him my address and email to his iPhone. Abby, the salesperson, then excused himself to get me pricing and returned a few minutes later. He showed me the price sheet and said he included purchasing and leasing options for me. The top line was MSRP, $105,410. It was labeled AutoNation price. And just as this is just an editorial comment by me, that's a lot of money for a Toyota Escalade. I mean, the Escalade is a General Motors product. It's like a giant Suburban. It's like a fancy Suburban. Mm-hmm. So here, there. If you think of a Chevy Suburban and a Cadillac Escalade, I don't see a $105,000 sticker price. I think.
Oh no!
I think they got
I know
to
they
think of the
loaded
price.
up with all the the luxury finishes, but it's all superficial.
And then on top of the $105,000, they added $699 for dent protection. There's junk added, dealer installed accessory, insurance. $699 for appearance protection, more junk, dealer installed. $295 for window tint. $199 for electronic filing fee, which is a junk fee. They're trying to make it sound official, like it was charged by the state of Florida, but it's not. It's just profit to the dealer. And a $995 dealer services fee, another junk fee. My real price, instead of $105,000, was $108,297. That was $2,887 over MSRP. And here we are in an area where the production is not limited. There's a lot of Escalades. Cadillac dealers have got them. They're
GM
available.
products are not flying off the shelves. It's like they don't need to.
No. So it's way overpriced. I asked, does Cadillac have any special financing options? He replied, no, but you're welcome to get your own financing. We don't specifically work with any one bank. I thanked him, and he said he looked forward to hearing from me soon. He also mentioned that they have one almost identical to the one I looked at, but with only 1,000 miles on it, $15,000 less.
Almost identical.
That's a huge reduction for 1,000 miles. If I were going to buy a car, I'd buy that one. For 1,000 miles doesn't mean much. I said I appreciated that and would definitely talk to my husband about it. He walked me to the door, let me know that if I wanted to see it, it's the last one down there, and he pointed to it. So by the last one down there, I guess he meant for a new one.
Or the one with 1,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
I'm not impressed with this dealership. I don't know what to say. Forget about the overpricing. Like, have you guys picked up on a lot of little just kind of lazy? I don't want to attack Abby. I never really like to attack the salespeople, but there's kind of like didn't offer sales drive, a test drive. Did any special offering? No, you can get your own financing. I don't know if she's paraphrasing. They just seem like very short answers, and then finally when she leaves, if you want to see the other one for $15,000 less, it's over there. That would bother me as if I was his boss.
Well, I'm surprised for a lot of reasons. It was an AutoNation store, and they're typically a cut above. In general, if someone asked me on the street, hey, I want to buy whatever it is, what sort of a dealership should I go to? I would say, if you go to an AutoNation store, you're probably going to get treated better than an average dealership. In this case here, this AutoNation store was not up to par. Could be Abby, the salesperson. I don't know. And also the fact that they would be pricing a car like a Cadillac Escalade, which is in great availability supply now. And you could definitely get a much better price than that. So I was surprised. I don't want to prejudice the votes, and I want you to vote by text or by YouTube.com. Or Facebook.com. I'd love to hear your votes, but please don't fail a dealership just because they did a little bit wrong because all dealerships do a little bit wrong. Even the ones we recommend do a little bit wrong. And we have to have some place to go to buy a car, so we grade on the curve. What I would call normally would be a C would be the average dealer. So it's the average dealership, give them a C. If they're great and they're just almost totally honest and transparent, give them an A. And if they're bandits and they are trying to rob you, give them an F. So let's hear your votes.
Bandits.
All right. So Jonathan in Palm Coast says, if I understand this correctly, AutoNation Cadillac is a Costco program member, but they won't necessarily give you the Costco price. Strike one. Monroney label is illegally placed. Strike two. Exorbitant junk fees. $995 dealer fee. Strike three. You're out. They get an automatic F from me. Again, I don't have time for money for such games. And Bob says they used to say something was the Cadillac of the item. My grade is the Cadillac of an F. So I guess that. You know, I don't know why I'm just like leaning. I'm against the salesperson a lot. Like even they asked, we don't go. He made a speech about how all the other salespeople are selling them for $50,000 over MSRP, and we don't go MSRP. And then 2 minutes later, I have a hard time reconciling that. And we've seen that at other dealerships too. They say no, we cap it at last week at the Lexus store. Same thing, and we were well over MSRP. They're below the curve for me, and I'm going to give them a D.
Okay.
Well, I've got Negan 1 says, big fat F already before Earl even finishes. Tom Steckel says, D, no Monroney, no test drive, add-ons, and ridiculous dealer fees. The lack of nitrogen fill saved them from an F. Ooh. T. Cash says, F, and is Cadillac still in business?
Apparently.
Strangely enough, there are a lot of Cadillac Escalades on the road in Palm Beach County, and it's a luxury car market down here. So that's another thing. All the Cadillac dealers would have a lot of Cadillac Escalades, and they're selling a lot of them in this market. It's not a hot car nationally, but in South Florida, or at least Palm Beach County, it is a hot car.
Johnny Z. Fradley says, I wouldn't, I beg your pardon, he says, over $3,000 in junk fees, F for me. Brian Sidlatko, I wouldn't touch a Cadillac with a 10-foot pole. It's an F for me. Mark Smith, I'm disappointed with this dealership, D-. Joseph Keller, F. Can't believe there were so many add-ons for such a high-priced vehicle. Cram 1624, F. Junk, and more junk.
It's so greedy because if they sold that $105,000 Cadillac at invoice, they'd still make $10,000.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
They're going for the $20,000 and $30,000 deal on this thing.
I just think if they would follow the law, put those fees in the original sticker price, and say this is our MSRP, this is how much we're charging you for the car.
Then she could say, "All right, great, bye, I'm going."
There's the bottom line.
Yeah.
I would have felt better about it, but I'm going to say a D.
All right.
Well, it just reinforces you have to shop and compare. Here's a case here that if Agent Lightning, our mystery shopper, really was going to buy a car, she would have checked prices at a couple of other Cadillac dealers, and they would have found out that Abby at AutoNation Cadillac in West Palm Beach was not telling the truth, because I guarantee you other Cadillac dealers down here are not going that far over sticker. As Rick said, you could get sticker price on a Cadillac Escalade in a heartbeat, and you could get even better if you wanted to shop around.
That's right.
Stu, what was your grade?
I gave it a D. I had one more that popped in. It was a big fat F. Lazy is the first word that comes to mind. Too many junk fees for me. That's a big F. But I'm not swayed by that. I'm sticking with my D.
Okay. Hey, Jonathan, how much time do we have left?
3 minutes.
3 minutes, okay. I'm not going to take up some airtime with exactly how I feel, about this. What stands out here in this mystery shopping report is that Agent Lightning used the word, she defined, it was a adjective, clever. He was clever. Mm-hmm. And that's very telling of this whole mystery shopping report. And I would like to share my Sicilian curse
Bafangu.
to AutoNation.
Bafangu.
And I give them an F.
Oh, wow.
I'm on Wallace's Cadillac website right now. This is the MSRP. They have one for 123,000. That's the platinum model. So apparently, Agent Lightning was shopping the low end one at 105,000.
Oh, wow.
These things are
Low.
expensive. Yeah.
I heard that they were. I don't see as many on the road. So let me say to everyone, if you didn't see gooddealerbaddealer.com on the screen, you can go to Earl on Cars and you can check out that list. And I don't know where this AutoNation is going to go, but there we go. Okay.
I say a C minus, and that's the lowest grade I've ever given an AutoNation store. And I think it's because of this particular salesperson, and I'll include the manager, because they are cut below AutoNation. And if you look in general, except for AutoNation of Cadillac and West Palm Beach, in general, AutoNation stores will give you a better treatment than
They don't score that low usually for us.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning. Happy Father's Day again to all of you out there.
Happy Father's Day, Dad.
Thank you.
Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, Stu. Rick, happy Father's Day. Jonathan, happy Father's Day. Join us again next week right here on the Oldies Channel.